Hello and welcome all you ghouls back to the Midnight Mass Creature Cast. I'm Crypt Keeper James. I'm joined by the awesome Bobby Blades. Mr. Blades, how are you this evening?
Pretty good. And I couldn't help but notice, I don't know, when you sent me the picture and I made that comment, I was like, it's not horror cast. And then you were like, Midnight Mass Creature Cast. I was totally expecting you to say Midnight Mass Horror Cast. So,
Yeah, right? I know.
Yeah.
Look, and that's how I even put it. I felt so ashamed. I felt shamed. So I'm not used to, the long, you always got the long names for the show. So I'm like, I have to remember all four things. And I'm like, my poor mind, because I'm old.
that's fine. I mean, we had with the old guy Metalcast, people were getting it wrong. Ooh. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Is that on your side?
I don't know. I've never heard anything. What the hell was that?
That's a warning.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing anything. Nothing's. Does the emergency services take over Zoom and do that weird shit?
That was crazy. I guess it does.
Wow. Man, I'm glad I didn't have the volume up any louder because that was awful.
That was really loud.
Yeah.
So, do we leave that in or do we start recording brand new?
I don't know.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, that is it. But usually when that comes, there's like some text saying, flood warning or tornado warning or something.
Right. No, that was just like all of a sudden just, hey, bad news. All right.
Our signal got hijacked. The Creature Cast has been shut down.
Already? All right. So, tonight, which is kind of, however you want to say it, we're going to do our Halloween special.
Yeah. Little late Halloween special, but better late than never.
Yeah. We're going to be discussing the 1988 cult favorite, Night of the Demons.
A funeral parlor? Way out here?
I can't believe we're gonna party here.
Now it's time for party games.
Yeah.
How about a past life seance? A seance?
What the hell was that?
They're pure evil. They're demons.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. Where you going? The party's just begun.
Night of the Demons.
Rest assured we've got something wonderful planned for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
of Demons.
I'm not so, oh yeah.
I know. Well, when you told me about it, about the action not starting until like a certain point, I was like, that's not how I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing like how I remember it. And then, of course, I started watching it, and I was like, wow, this is pretty boring right now. So, yeah, it took a little while to get into the meat of the story.
Yeah, I mean, like right off the jump, I have to say, it's a lot scarier when I was a kid. than now, which I guess, of course, right. That's what you're going to say. Everything's supposed to be scary when you're a kid. But sometimes, movies will have like where you look at it from a different angle when you're older, or you actually get more of the stuff and you're like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty freaky. It just didn't. It just did not.
That was very surprising because I remember as a kid, it was kind of all about from what I remember, the first time I had seen it, it scared the hell out of me.
Me too.
And I'm just thinking like, oh, the demons, from the very beginning, there were demons, and like all the way through the movie, there were, people were being attacked by demons. And then I'm watching it and I'm like, so when do the demons come in?
Right.
It was so weird.
Yep.
And then on top of that, it was also like they spent all that time basically doing nothing where it was supposed to be a setup for a story, and they were telling no story whatsoever. It was just teenagers doing stupid shit.
Right. And flashing. It was kind of like a bad trip. 55 minutes, nothing going on, stuff actually starts happening. So there is a creepy feel to it, but it just seemed a bit draggy overall.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once that 55 minutes did hit, madness starts.
Yes.
So, complete with people drawing on themselves with lipsticks and then pushing it into their nipple.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
I said, what? When I was watching again, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember. Oh, why don't I remember that?
Do you think she was wearing a like boob bodysuit for that when she pushed it in?
I would hope so. Otherwise, where'd it go?
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking, I was like, were those real boobs?
Yeah.
Or were they like, prosthetic boobs?
Must have been.
Like throughout the whole movie, because I was like, "Oh, titties!" But
right.
She pushed some lipstick in there, and I was like, "Oh, those can't be real."
Right. And that's what I thought too. There must have been fake, and then I was like, that kind of takes away from it.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you're kind of like, 80s movies, horror movies, gratuitous nudity. It's gonna happen. That's just part of it. Like if you've ever watched Friday the 13th. On Sci-Fi, when they cut out all the nude and kills, it's a really, really boring movie. So I'm like, I much appreciate the gratuitous nudity shots that took place. Classic 80s, way to keep you watching. But then when I saw that, I was like, is it even? I don't even think that's real.
Right, but at 56 minutes and 45 seconds, I'm going to channel Booger from Revenge of the Nerds because we've got Bush.
Right. Right. But
there's no way that could be fake.
I don't think so. I do know that like in 50 Shades of Grey, not to put myself out there with that, but I do know that they had fake prosthetic for that too.
I've never seen that movie, so I don't know.
Yeah, because it was talked about because they like my wife is looking it up or something like that, and they had a picture of the the fake hair and all that. And I was like, wait a minute, what? So yeah, that's what I'm like. I think I know too much now to be thankful for all the nudity shots in this movie. It's upsetting. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't think did all that shit in the 80s though, man. I think like what you saw was what you saw.
Well, let's hope so. Because that's
maybe
what I
for
wanted.
that lipstick shot.
Yeah.
Maybe for that lipstick shot, there were like prosthetic or some kind of paper mache something or other. But like I don't know how the hell you're gonna fake Bush, man. Like, but hey, they could do it. But I'm just gonna go with it was real. It happened.
Yeah. Yeah, which was actually a nice little lead in the guy and that's happened. I'm like, all right, cool. This is going. And then her face turned whack, and you're like, oh no.
and then the Cookie Monster voice came.
Right. Right. The Cookie Monster voice. The kills and possessions do pick up quickly in the second act. Was some pretty good 80s graphic deaths. I do appreciate the pyrotechnics and the burnt up bodies. That's always good. Putting the hands in the fire and the hand being all creepy and burnt up. The taboo kisses, two girls kiss. Oh my God. That's crazy. We can't have that. In the 80s, that was like, now you watch anything on CW, it's got to be 3 scenes of it. So,
well, yeah, not only that, but it's like, in the 80s, any of the same-sex kissing, it was, like you said, taboo. But now you turn on the CW, you see like 2 guys, or 2 guys and 1 girl, or 2 girls and 1 guy. I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the normal.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Apparently, when I was looking, I don't want to ruin any trivia, but apparently that was going to be an initial thing in this. There was going to be an interracial couple, and there was going to be a gay guy couple, and they thought, no, that's just too much. The producers wouldn't go for it. They said you're pushing the limit too much. Okay. Yeah, for this time. So I'm like, oh, okay. Might have helped the story. So
it would have helped if they'd actually focused more on creating a backstory for all the characters instead of just kind of having the characters just kind of be there. Like they were chewing scenery for basically 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We're introduced to the girl's brother. We're introduced to that guy who sounds like he's from New York, or what? I guess I'm thinking like young Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
The way he talked. But other than that, it's like there's no character development throughout the whole thing, and so it's just like that's what made it so boring for like 45 minutes. Because I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, I thought it was a lot better than this. Right.
And it was all about what's going on with the one girl in the room with the fireplace. What's going on with her? And it's not like, ooh, she's different. She's whatever. It's like she's normal, but she's also kind of weird. And then she does this freaky dance. And everybody is like, the guys have no substance. It's like they're literally just, who can I have sex with? Who's they look good to go. Okay, I'm gonna go with them then. It's not who I came with. We have no relationship. We have no, whatever, but they look like they might be good. So I'm gonna go with that. So, which I guess was kind of 80s, but usually they were coupled up. You always had like couple, and then like virgin guy, virgin girl, kind of nerdy, and they're supposed to be the ones that hook up, and they're going to be the ones that usually survive. Didn't necessarily get that with these characters. So
that was kind of weird. But like what we were talking about before, like with a popular trope of the 80s films was you have sex, you're dead.
Right.
And so the final girl and the final guy who actually made it out of the film were the only 2 who were not getting busy with anyone.
Right. Which played into it. Definitely. I did like that they survived, but it was, the majority of the film, the one guy's just running around outside, locking himself in a car, doing other stuff, hearing creepy noises, but there's literally nothing going on outside. Everything is going on inside. That is going on I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, all the demon attacks are happening indoors. It's not like outside where he's searching the wall for the gate and everything is walled up.
Right.
And so it's just like he was kind of hiding out for the majority of that.
Yeah. Which I appreciate that aspect of it, because I would like to think that if I was in that situation, I'm going to try and get out as well. And I appreciate that. That's what his focus for the most part was. He wanted to leave. He did not want to be in there. He didn't want to see anybody. He didn't care. He was ready to go. So, give him that. So, but, the sex in the coffin was appreciated for effect. But the kill in the coffin was lackluster, to say the least. He just kind of like slams the thing on the guy. I was thinking an arm was going to come off, or he'd be all creepy. He's just kind of screaming at this guy, just sitting there slamming the thing down on him. And I'm like,
Yeah, I was wondering about that kill because it was coming down on the arm only. It's not like he had his head in between the coffin lid and, the other part. And it's, when you see Jason doing something, it's like he's smashing somebody's head in a car door, and then you see the head get smooshed and like brain and eyes pop out. But there was nothing like that.
No, just his arm, which did not come off, if I remember correctly, and somehow he was dead. Nice. Okay.
So maybe he passed out from the shock of having his arm smashed in the coffin.
It was so traumatic. He just died.
He had a heart attack because don't look at me.
That whole thing, and the whole time I'm watching this, all I'm trying to do is place where that guy is from, and I was like, I think he was in Heathers. I think he was Ren in Heathers, the guy that got shot. That was one of the football players. I'm almost positive that's who that was. So, like, that's all I could think of the whole time I'm watching this. I'm just like, this is what's going on here. So,
yeah, definitely not how I remember it.
Mm-mm. Now, this part, having to climb the barbed wire to escape and people having to pull you down by the ankles, that's pretty bad. When I think of this movie, that's the part that I think of the most. When I was remembering it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so I did have some nightmares about that, because if you were trying to climb razor wire and their hands are getting all cut up, and I mean, people pulling you and stuff, that's pretty bad. But it took an hour and a half to get there. So
yeah, not only that, but I did have a problem with that part. First of all, where did the barbed wire come from? And second of all, that scene just went on for way too long. And you would think, like, if you were being attacked by demons, they'd be more than just like reaching for you. They'd be grabbing your ankles and trying to pull you down, where it seemed like all I saw was hands like continuously reaching.
Right.
And I'm like, just grab the leg. Just grab the leg and pull.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I'm pretty sure at one point, wasn't she flying in the house? Or is that the remake? I can't remember. I thought there was a part where she was kind of like coming at her with her arms reached out, and I was like, maybe not. No.
I don't know.
I'm getting them confused up with because I think that's Night of the Demons too. But but either way, you would think they would have some kind of demon-y power to be able to be stronger or jump.
Oh, most definitely. It's like Night of the Living Dead or Land of the Dead, where they're kind of just weakly reaching for you and, like petting you gently.
Petting you.
So, yeah, I really don't know about that. That's the scene that I had the most problems with. And another one was when the girl lit the gas line.
Yes.
I'm like, how do you not blow yourself up and kill everybody along with the demons when you're setting fire to a gas line? Because
right.
That is dangerous.
That was the scene that I was thinking about. I don't know why I was thinking she was flying in that, but yeah, that's what. Yeah, she. Yeah. When you light gas lines, main gas lines on it, you're pretty much destroying the entire structure. It's not just a convenient her. So,
it's like, we've got a flamethrower here. It's turn on the gas and then turn it off, and we'll make the flame go out. So
that happens.
Perhaps I was just kind of not suspending my disbelief, actually, because I was like, that wouldn't happen in real life.
You just, no. So, you talking about the escape scene and them petting at her feet, basically, always makes me. It was one of the things, like, I really dug. We'll talk about another movie here for a second, like Dusk Till Dawn. I thought that was a pretty good movie. Saw it in the theater the first time and everything like that. But here's what gets me. The end scene, and they're all fighting, and conveniently and nicely enough, all of the demon things wait for you to fight the one you're fighting before they fight you as well. And I see that a lot in like fight scenes and movies, and you've got one guy and there's a whole bunch of people there to attack you. If you got 10 people around, 10 people attack you, they usually don't wait their turn.
Yeah, they're gonna dogpile you.
Right. So, that's the thing with this kind of stuff where it kind of always loses me. 6 people or 4 people pulling at your feet, they're gonna get you.
Yeah, somebody is gonna grab a hold of your pants.
Yeah.
And like just kind of drag you down.
Or work in tandem, climb Bob or Biff or whatever his name was, Mug, and get up on his shoulders and just body slam you down to the ground. Yeah.
And hopefully they don't hook a finger on your shoelace and kind of pull you down by that. And there's just so many ways it could go bad.
Yeah. Well, it didn't, because they did escape.
Right. Escape.
Yeah, I did like how traumatized Judy and Roger were at the end of the movie. They did look pretty rough, as they should after having a night like that. You're definitely going to have some kind of PTSD, I would assume. Even Roger, who didn't really see a whole bunch per se, but he saw enough. So I like how they had them walking down the street and they were just all worked.
Yeah, they were all haggard, not even speaking.
Yeah, which is appreciated, because I would imagine that after going through something like that, I'm not going to be in the mood for anything. So I did like that they had her as the Alice in Wonderland type looking thing. That was kind of cool. So
yeah, and she looked very wholesome. Out of all of the group of friends there, she was like the virginal one.
Right. I mean, if you take it at face value of being an 80s movie, it did its job. It's going to have some kind of horror. It's going to have the gratuitous sex stuff. It's going to have the nudity. It's going to have, some good 80s graphic stuff with, pyrotechnics, usually some grossness, but I don't know. It didn't do it for me on the level that it did as a kid.
Right. And that's the same thing. Like after you told me about that, I was like, okay, I want to see if this actually does it for me the same way it hit me when I was younger and I was afraid.
Yeah.
And the makeup effects, like everything like that was on point, but it just did not hit me the same way. And I believe that has to do with like getting older and kind of being jaded to everything. Yeah,
and I hate that, but I hate to be like that. I don't know. I just wanted it to be like, I guess you watch a Friday the 13th past part 1 when you do like part 2, part 3, even Nightmare on Elm Street. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get a little bit of character development. You're usually going to get an early scare type thing with either how Freddy's coming back or about how he's messing with somebody. You're going to find out what's going on with everybody. Somebody's going to die, and then it's going to get real. Everybody's going to die for the most part, minus one person who's going to fight him and put him back to whatever state it's going to be that he's going to be. That's kind of how those go. Friday the 13th, same thing. They're going to show up at the lake or wherever they're going to be. You've got, like I said, you've got kind of the slutty girls, the study guys. Somebody's virtuous. Some guy's kind of nerdy, usually has glasses, which automatically, as soon as you had glasses, nerd, in the 80s. And you know what it's going to happen. There's going to be some pretty graphic kills. They're going to run forever, even though he's going to walk after them and kill them in some way. And then you're going to discover all the bodies all brewed up and everything like that. Then they'll defeat him, and it's better, but he still comes back some way, but it's defeated, This, it was, 55 minutes of just kind of flashing from one scene to another with nothing really going on. Then 20 minutes of some pretty good kill stuff. and that's about it. And
then the ending kind of fizzled out too, where the morning sun came and turned him into smoke or whatever, and then you saw the demon head. But it was like, I thought there was a lot more lore into it, and the guys telling stories about the natives of the land, how they wouldn't touch that certain, like across that part of the river.
right.
And I was like, okay, cool, they're building some kind of lore here, but they didn't go any farther than that.
Nope. It's just what the furnace or whatever, they show that, and it's ominous and making noises and growling, and that's about it. And then they'd flash back to them and they're talking, and then they'd flash to somebody else, and then, but it's not really a cohesive story.
No, it's not. It's kind of like it was thrown together really quickly. The script and the character development, if you can even call it character development, because like the same thing with the girl who's supposed to be the witch.
Mm-hmm.
She just strikes me as like some kind of teenage goth,
Right.
who's supposed to like know the very basic stuff, but doesn't know a whole lot about witchcraft and the like. And so, if you do this in front of a mirror, blah blah blah. It just everything seemed thrown together. And
Yeah.
I guess when you're a kid, you kind of take things at face value more, or at least I did. And so I was like scared to death by it. But when I'm looking at it now, it's like, man, this isn't the same movie that I remember.
No, and I darn sure don't remember sitting for that long before something happened. I must have been eating, because I don't remember that long of nothing happening. So maybe I was getting snacks. That's fair. That sounds like me.
I was hiding, ready to cover my eyes, because I knew that any moment, like a demon could pop out. Like, stop looking at me.
Yeah, exactly. And then push things into their nipples. I can't trust any women after this movie. What are you keeping in there?
It's a secret stash.
Yeah. I did like the full circle of the old man with the apples and the razor blades.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Like, is that a story on top of a story? Like, because a little bit in the beginning and then at the very end, it had absolutely nothing to do with the movie. It's like, it's Halloween. We're going to tell a story, like half of the story at the beginning, and then the rest of the story at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Apparently, he's the old man who hands apples out with razor blades because he just hates children. So, yeah. So, I guess the wife decides she's going to feed him an apple pie with the apples that he gave out, and he ate it. I don't know how you don't realize when you're chewing a razor blade, but...
Yeah, it's not like you swallow a bunch of razor blades. You're fucking hoovering that in, and
right?
Not even realizing that you're having razor blades, and all of a sudden they just kind of pop out your neck.
Right, and that's what happened. He's just all of a sudden gets shocked face, and his neck just starts bleeding out. Like, I was like, wait, what's going on? And then, of course, that gave me traumatic flashbacks of Creep Show, and I thought roaches were going to start coming out of his neck. Because I'm like, oh, no. Please, God, no, not roaches. No, just razor blades. Okay, that's fine. And then she's just like, happy Halloween, dear, or something like that. And I'm like, movie, you really just let me down.
You really let me down. Have to be the cheesiest. I mean, I love it still, but it is definitely 100% cheese, man.
Yes. I wondered if when they were editing out their script or the story, if they also took out a lot of other meat and potatoes that they wanted to do at the beginning. Oh, we're going to have this happen. And they were like, no. Okay, well, I guess we'll just leave this scene. Okay. Oh, we're going to have this happen. No. But you can just leave this part of that scene and be like, okay, so they edited out, a minute or 2 minutes of everything they were going to have, which just left 55 minutes of nothing. And I'm like, well, maybe that's what happened, because I don't know. It just seems like it should have been reversed, like 20 minutes of the whole build-up thing, and then, whatever. I would have even done, instead of them getting to the house and all of that, maybe they pick each other up. Well, they had the mooning thing, didn't they? Never mind. That did happen.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. See, I'm blocking it already. I don't know. I would have liked more, I guess.
Right. More. It was definitely lacking cohesion. And for a person with like ADHD, you're going to have a hard time. Well, an even harder time figuring it out, like what's going on.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing, because you can actually fast forward the movie to about 50, or was it 52 minutes?
Yeah.
And you get the boobs and the painting and weird stuff happening.
Yeah.
So like you get all the meat and potatoes of the film, and then no filler.
I want meat and potatoes. I don't want your celery. Okay, don't give me the celery. I always think back to like, I don't know if you with Christine, the movie Christine, Stephen King Christine, with the car.
Yeah,
like he gets the car, and he's a complete like kind of like just side character nerd guy, and then he shows up at the football game. He's got the car, which is cool, but he's also already got the girl for the most part. And the friend who's playing football, it seems oblivious to all of this. And I was kind of like, they could have had some of this story in between. I mean, he didn't just night and day this thing. Or did he? I don't know. I didn't read the book, of course, because I don't read books. So, I don't read books. I don't read your books. I watch your movies. So, but
yeah. So you're saying basically they didn't even show how he transitioned from a nerdy guy with nobody to getting a girlfriend.
Right. The girl that he had like pined after. And it wasn't if he was just like, well, now he's got the car and he's got the guts to go and ask. Like, she literally, I believe, was with him at the car, like already. And I was like, interesting. So we're just going to assume that
was left on the cutting room floor.
Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read the book, so I can't tell. I'll have to ask my wife about it. I'm sure she read it. So.
I've read a lot of Stephen King books, but not that one.
So I think, one of his, not to go too off topic, he has a really good knack for writing up until the ends of things, and then the endings seem to fall apart. But Carrie has good character development in it, in my opinion. That's a story that really shows, like, the attempt of redemption of the popular girl that kind of was in on it, and how the other one was just really a POS, and the guy was just, and Carrie and her mom and the teacher and all of that. Like, you really felt these characters for the most part, and it didn't take 2 hours or 55 minutes for them to do that, and really a lot of the action of that movie, with her going and getting the pig's blood and all that kind of stuff, I think that's like the last 15 minutes of the movie. It's not even the whole movie.
Most of the movie was, her getting picked on, a lot of the character development, like when she had her period and she started freaking out.
Right. That's the very beginning. That's like the first 2 minutes.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, wow, this girl was really sheltered. Her mom basically mentally abused her.
Right.
And so it just showed like, and how fucked up kids were in that, they're still fucked up. What am I saying?
True.
But, they were messed up in the 80s, man. They made fun of you for everything. And like, if you were the outsider, then you were pretty much screwed.
Yep.
And so that movie kind of portrayed that, where she felt like she was worthless, and then all of a sudden she realizes she has this incredible power. It's just that's a whole lot of character development, and I'm sure the movie was only an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think so. But it's well done. I mean, and Carrie Fisher she and Carrie Fisher almost reversed roles. Carrie Fisher was going to be in Carrie, and Sissy Spacek was going to be in Star Wars. I don't know if you know that.
No, I never knew that.
Yep. And it had to do with the opening scene, with the fact with, like, I guess the nudity portion of it and all that kind of stuff. Carrie Fisher didn't want to do that.
Okay.
That was almost reversed. Isn't that creepy?
That's so weird.
I couldn't imagine Sissy Spacek as Princess Leia. But I guess you can always say that about movies, somebody else is going to do it and you're like, oh, I couldn't imagine that person. But yeah, it's an hour and 38 minutes long, 1976.
Okay. Yeah, and probably 8 minutes of that are the credits rolling. So,
right.
Yeah, it's just hour 30 of, probably 55 minutes of character development, and then the rest is Carrie killing people.
Right. Right, but it made enough of an impact to where people, I mean, that's like a horror movie. That's shown during Halloween. That's something that people are like, oh, yeah, man, Carrie, that's a really freaky movie. And, yeah, pig's blood, Okay. So the real freaky part about it is her mother. And I don't know if you saw the remake of it with Julianne Moore.
Yep. I saw that.
Fantastic movie. Actually, I was really impressed. I was like, when I first saw that had come out, I was like, I don't really do remake things like this and all that kind of stuff. I thought they did a bang up job for it. And Julianne Moore is she plays that religious mom part to a T. I'm like, man, you are scary.
Yeah. And then the chick from Kick-Ass, right? She was Carrie.
I believe so, yeah.
I can't remember her name now.
I don't remember, but I know that it
was the girl who played, I can't remember her name either, but yeah, that little girl who played the superhero in Kick-Ass, where her father was Nicolas Cage.
Is that where I know her from? Chloe Grace Moritz?
Yes, that's who it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't bring up Kick-Ass to me. I really did not like that movie.
Veered off the
I know.
And gone into like several other films.
But that movie, oh man, when he's dying and burning to death and screaming whatever, I can't even understand what he's saying. And I'm like, what is going on? And this is bad. And whatever. I digress. Some trivia. About this movie. One, I did already bring up about the how they wanted to cast like interracial couples, and as well as a totally like obvious gay couple, male couple, and they were just like, no, we're not doing that. So that's a little bit of trivia with that. Let's see.
I did find something about the question we had earlier.
What's that?
So Linnea Quigley, the girl who played Suzanne, and special effects artist Steve Johnson met when she came in to get the mold for her fake breasts done, and they were later married.
Okay.
So the lipstick part, completely fake, but the boobs were real.
Oh.
Or as real as they can be, in the 80s.
Right. This is important because it was such a fantastic dance. Amelia Kincaid choreographed her own dance routine because that
was great. And the Stigmata Martyr by the Bajas, perfect song for like twisted Halloween hijinks. I mean, it was absolutely great.
Yeah, I guess.
I loved it.
I just didn't quite understand why. I just What's going on? I guess is my question. It's like, what does this have to do with anything going on in this movie at this moment that this is happening?
I guess she was possessed, and the demon really liked Bajas.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. So, I mean, to each his own. That's like, if you've ever seen Before and After with, oh God, what's that kid from Terminator 2's name? I can't think of it. But anyway, in the middle of the movie, I always love that I have just the crappiest off topic things. It's a 96 movie. It's got Liam Neeson and Meryl Streep and Edward Furlong. And basically, he has an accident where he kills his girlfriend. But instead of just going to the cops and saying what happened, Liam Neeson tries and covers it up. And in the midst of all this really crappy hour and 48 long movie, there's a sex scene between Liam Neeson and Meryl Streep.
What the hell is the name of that movie? I've never seen that.
Before and After is what it's called. And it's
I don't ever recall.
It's so crap. And it was such a bad movie in the first place. A bad movie. And it's a drama crime movie. And it's just bad. And then in the midst of all of it, they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a sex scene in 1996 with Liam Neeson and Meryl Streep. No, thank you.
Because sex scenes make everything better.
I would really, 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 really much rather watch old girl dance around to her own choreographed dance than ever watch that again and poke my eyes out. Angela can dance around all she wants. So, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is cool.
What you got?
Excuse me. So the girl who played Suzanne, Linnea, I hope I'm saying it right. Linnea Quigley, she gained notoriety for her portrayal of Trash in The Return of the Living Dead and was asked to come in for an audition by the filmmakers who were fans of that movie. She rejected it initially, believing that she was too old to convincingly portray a teenager, until her agent insisted that she go in, and after a couple of more requests, she did the audition. To her surprise, they cast her right on the spot.
Nice.
A lot of trivia for this girl here.
Yeah, and we all know the Trash scene from Night of the Living Dead. You are familiar with which one that is, right?
She's the punk rock girl, right?
Yes. The one who tells the story that her fear of death is that there's a whole bunch of old men dragging her down naked and touching all over her body, and she literally gets naked and dances around. Which I'm like, I mean, okay, but is this your go-to at every party that you go to?
I know, it's like, oh wait, no, let me take the panties off. It's time to do another dance.
Right. And then the acid rain comes and burns everybody's skin. So then she's just naked. And of course they have like a ragtop vehicle. I'm like, this is no good. And then that's why she dies. Then they drag her down into the mud in the middle of the cemetery. All the old men drag her down into the ground.
I had no idea that was the same girl. She looks completely different in this movie.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's a good piece of trivia there. And we know that she pretty much got naked throughout her career then.
Yeah, that's pretty much her thing.
Yep.
So good for her. If you're going to be notarized for something, it might as well be that. When we first see Angela in the convenience store, she's wearing cross earrings. And later in the movie, when she dances with Stooge, nice name, and she becomes possessed, her cross earrings are upside down, a popular sign of the devil. Oh no, it's the devil.
The devil. Oh,
boy.
Can I just talk about Stooge for a minute here?
Please.
Okay, if this movie, the character of Stooge, he would not be around in 2021.
No.
The way, that's the epitome of toxic masculinity right there.
Yeah.
He's like, shut up, bitch. Get in the car. You know?
Right.
It's like if this movie came out now, there would be none of that.
Mm-mm. And I even still become amazed sometimes that these people are in, like, they always throw all these like different Breakfast Club type personas together as if they're just like casual friends that hang out the time. I grew up in the 80s. I don't remember that so much. I like it doesn't seem real per se. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I remember guys like Stooge in school, and they were relatively alone and angry. So, whatever.
Yeah, they certainly didn't have girlfriends.
Mm-mm.
And it's like in the 80s, you had the like heavy metal kids or the rock kids, and then you had the greasers, and that group of people did not combine together.
Mm-mm.
You didn't have these popular kids. You didn't have the dudes with the slick back hair who thought they were Ralph Macchio from the Karate Kid.
Right.
It was just, it didn't happen. It wasn't like that. It's like the outcasts hung with the outcasts, and everybody kind of had their own clique. So yeah, that also didn't make a lot of sense from this movie, because you had several different groups of people kind of coming together.
Right. I mean, even Angela, really? She hangs with these girls? If she does, they talk behind her back something fierce.
Oh,
Because they are catty. They are
especially Suzanne. Like she's the bitchiest of the bitchiest right there.
Right. I'm really thrown off that is. I mean, I guess I knew that she was trash as well, but that really just hit me when you said that, and I was like, P.S. Your name is Trash. You're not. Oh, that movie. I do love that movie too. That scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. That brains, that big old thing.
I still love that movie.
Oh,
I had watched it last year,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, this is so good."
Yeah.
I can't get enough of this. It was cheesy, but I loved it.
Oh, it's cheesy as hell, especially when they're like, "Send more police."
Yeah.
Send more paramedics.
That was absolutely great.
That's so epic. And then they turn the lights
They're
on.
asking that like shriveled up body why it likes brains.
It's the pain.
Hurts being dead.
Yeah. That messed with me I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds horrible. So nobody died nice in that movie. It was all a bunch of crap. And then I'm pretty sure they just dropped a bomb on the city at the very end, which was not cool.
Yeah,
that's 80s scare.
What happened at the end, man?
Yeah,
I just remember Tar Man, and it's like brains.
Yeah, he's coming up through the attic, and he's like, "I want your brains," and he pops it open just as they drop like a nuke on the town to kill it off.
I'm gonna have to watch that movie again now because I don't remember the ending at all. I just remember like good parts.
And part 2 is literally like the same main cast and same exact story. I don't know if you ever watched part 2.
Is part 2 when they're like driving down the road throwing brains out?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, and he convinces the girl from Weird Science is in it, and that's his girlfriend, and he convinces her to let him just, try some brains. And she's like, okay. And he starts eating on her, and that was right there where I was like, your acting career is over, Debbie. You've got this movie, you've got Weird Science, which was, okay, you could have gone somewhere from that, and you got Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Other than that, you're done.
We definitely have to cover Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Apparently, one proposed alternate title for the film was Demon Boogie.
It was that probably would have I don't know, man.
Yeah.
What would they call it? Demon Boogie Electric Boogaloo 2, Night of the Demons 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, that would have been appropriate. That would have been good. And it was originally titled Halloween Party. So all of these are all just crap.
That would have been really stupid to call it Halloween Party.
Right.
And I guess I was right when this movie was shot in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So apparently they put a rush job on this, and maybe that's why the story is kind of
Yeah. Yeah. And then this, I like that right now is an earlier draft of the script had a priest blessing the audience at the start of the movie. Why? Bless you for the next 52 minutes. Your life's not going to be good. It's
the
just
power of Christ compels you to not watch this film.
oh, well, I think going with Demon Boogie or Halloween Party. How? I guess movies that just have a type like Chopping Mall. Don't know if you ever saw Chopping Mall, but there's literally like a bag of a whole bunch of body parts, and I'm like, oh, cool, it's gonna be like a slasher movie. No, kids that get caught in a mall at the end when there's these killer robots that protect the mall, because you got to protect the mall.
Yeah, for those fucking mall rats.
Right. So they set up robots that look like number 5, and they just like laser beam all these kids, and I'm like, come on. You got Chopping Mall. This has nothing to do with shopping. I'm so pissed. Oh man, stupid robots. Anyway,
Actually, Night of the Demons Halloween Party or Halloween Party, and then like have like a subtitle underneath with something to do with demons. I think that might have been more appropriate because it is a Halloween movie that takes place on Halloween. So I don't know. That might have been a little better.
I guess. I just make it the title. Don't watch. Don't watch if you're an adult. You're not going to enjoy. Oh, okay.
Well, just fast forward to the parts where there's nudity and killings, and forget all of that filler that takes up about 45 minutes in the beginning of the film.
All right.
Because nothing is really being said, and they're not developing any characters. It's just people, I don't know, talking for no reason.
Yeah. This will be the last one I get. Now, this gets me. You've already said 4 weeks, right? That's how long they took? Mm-hmm. Kathy Podwell said that the cast grew very close because they were always together. That's because they were all too afraid to be in their dressing rooms in Hull House or any other parts of the location alone because the building was just too creepy. So they hung out together outside between scenes. Really?
Oh, man. Was it an actual haunted location or something?
I know that there is something about Hull House. I thought that Hull House exists. So I guess Hull House does exist. Founded in 1889 by Jane Addams, was one of the first settlement houses in the United States. Initial program included providing recreational facilities for slum children, fighting for child labor laws, and helping immigrants become U.S. citizens. So I guess it's haunted by slum children. And P.S. Don't call me a slum child.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah. So I guess.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's why like the natives refused to cross the river into that part of the land because it was sour. Like in King's Pet Cemetery.
Sour.
Sour. Gotta have that New England.
The land is sour. Devin Sour. Okay, he's there too. No.
Oh, hey. This goes along right with it. So we were talking about the lipstick scene.
Mm-hmm.
Linnea had been nude modeling long before she'd been in the movies, so she was completely comfortable doing the scene. She read the script, saw what they were going to do, and sent it over to Steve Johnson, who made a cast of her breasts. The rest is history. So fake boobs only for the lipstick scene. Everything else is real.
All right, I'm good then. Good. That's really all I want.
Yeah, just wow. Now I've got to look this lady up now, man. See, she'd been doing nude modeling way before she'd been in movies. So she was probably like a Playboy playmate or something.
Yeah. Well, that's a positive. So good. Good.
Yeah, so hopefully we got all you perverts covered just for that.
Yeah. Yes. Thank God. So it's like the dream sequence in Night of the Comet with the girl. Just so what's her name would be in underwear. It was like, well, this movie's not really going. Oh, let's have a dream sequence, so that we should be in. All right, cool. Well, we got it. We're good.
We need to keep the audience hooked. So every now and then, just throw in a little, boob shot, maybe full frontal, and then go back to the story.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it takes. Nice. Anyway, all right.
Oh my God! I guess that was Night of the Demons.
Yes, good times, bad times. We'll take it. It's 80s. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's no Mac and Me, but
Mac and Me. It's no Close Encounters of the Third Kind or E.T. the Extraterrestrial, but we'll take it.
All right.
Isn't Mac and Me about the aliens who drink Pepsi?
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the one that was literally produced by McDonald's. There's a whole scene with McDonald's, and that is by far one of my favorite movies of all time. It's so bad. It's so bad, but it's so good. So
I just remember those creatures liking Pepsi, and I was like, I feel like I want a Pepsi now.
Yeah, and being nude all the time. There's that until the end when they put clothes on, and you're like, wait a minute, so
They were just exhibitionists.
So don't let me stop you, Mac. Anyway.
Sure.
All right, fiends. I hope that you enjoyed the show tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our first Halloween special. Late or not, it'll be here for years to come.
We'll get on point next year.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody be like, next year, be like, oh, the Halloween special from last year. Cool. I do hope that everyone had or has a fun, safe Halloween. I know that you've got some information for contacting us.
Yeah. So you can hit us up at. Hold on, you might have to edit this out. I have to.
That's fine.
The actual thing, because I forget email addresses apparently.
Yeah, I threw that right at you like that. Sorry.
Okay, so it's you can contact us at mmccpod@gmail.com. That's all one, like all bunch of letters together, so it's not too confusing. And hit us up on Facebook. Like the page, follow. Do they follow on Facebook, or is it just like a like?
You can follow. As far as I know,
okay.
you can follow now. You hit the little follow button, I think.
All right. Yeah, so leave some comments, leave some reviews, give us that 5-star love, baby.
Yeah, that's always fun. I
Hell
really
yeah.
appreciate that. Or
It helps us move up in the rankings too. Like you'd be surprised.
yeah, give us some 5 stars and leave like shade. In the 80s, I enjoyed the gratuitous nakedness, even if it was fake. So don't poop on my childhood. Okay, cool. I get you.
Yeah.
We'll review Purple Rain, whatever. I got you.
Yeah, I love Purple Rain.
I don't think that fits in the genre. But
No, it definitely doesn't. But if you want to hear that, you're gonna have to go listen to Yesteryear.
yeah, we haven't done that one yet, but yeah, that would be interesting. I'll just talk about it myself. I'll leave that
It'll be a show where you're the only host of that, and you're talking about Purple Rain for an hour.
Yeah, which I could do. I actually really like that movie. So
Prince was my idol.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else was going around talking about Michael Jackson, but for me, it was all about Prince. When Doves Cry, Purple Rain. I mean, that was my thing.
Truth. Amen.
Mm-hmm. I wanted a purple jacket and a purple motorcycle.
Absolutely, and big hair.
Yes, lots of hair.
Anyway, all right. For Mr. Bobby Blades and myself, Crypt Keeper James, good night. Stay spooky, my friends.